Community connections, CKMS, local sounds, thoughts, passions, and success. Celebrate local, your neighbor's got a story to tell. Community connections, CKMS.
Happy Monday, Waterloo Region. It is the 17th of March, 2025. My name is Bob Jonkman. In the studio with me today is Carla Muller and band, who are here to do a live on-air in-studio performance. So if you want to start up with a song, that's how we'll go right in at the very beginning.
I would say not band. This is Jason Fowler on guitar, and this is Drew Jureka on mandolin, and later on fiddle.
Okay. What do you want to start off with?
This little song I wrote called The Place That I Call Home, and it is about Waterloo-Woolwich region, where I grew up, where I played, where I ran around in the backyards of along the Conestoga River, and now where I live, nearby.
I live right next to that, so we're neighbors.
So you're in Elmira.
I'm in Elmira, yeah.
Yeah. So we're just out of town, but
Right.
enjoy the region very much.
Lovely area there, and you've written a song about it.
Yes.
All right.
2, 3, 4.
Hey, I'm coming home. Don't flash the porch light for me. Feel so much better now. I left the world behind me. I've got a feeling I've been on the road for way too long. I found my piece of heaven here in the place that I call home. I've passed the old church tower over in Mary Hill. I smell strawberry flowers. Must be in town Bloomingdale. Over the river Grand, just 2 more miles to go. I found my piece of heaven here in the place that I call home. Hey, I'm coming home. Don't flash the porch light for me. Feel so much better now. I left the world behind me. Got a feeling in my heart. Everything is fine. I feel the earth beneath my feet. Something that is mine. Don't need $1 million house there on Briar Road. The day you loved me was the day that I knew I found home. I've got you on the front porch swinging, crickets singing, sun is low. I found my piece of heaven here in the place that I call home. Hey, I'm coming home. Don't flash the porch light for me. Just 2 miles to go. I left the world behind me. I've got a feeling in my bones. Everything is fine. And I feel the earth beneath my feet. Something that is mine. Well, I've never hoed a row, but I've seen wildflowers grow. I watch my babies in the garden while the sun sinks low into the river bank. Hear that sweet water flow. I found my piece of heaven here in the place that I call. I found my piece of heaven here in the place that I call home. Oh my goodness, I almost had it. I almost had it.
You had it just fine. Piece of heaven, you go home. That's, I guess that's my piece of heaven too.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, watching the sun over the Conestoga River is just beautiful.
Yeah.
The sunsets are gorgeous there, and
Yeah.
it
It's
feels like heaven.
country air and you know, just a little bit out of the urban area as well. So
Yeah, and good
It's-
people.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's kind of nice to be in a place where everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
Like like that old Cheers song, but it's true.
Exactly,
It's-
yeah.
It really is. It really gives you a connection to the region.
You brought some good people with you.
Yes, I did.
I'll introduce. You're accompanied.
So first, I'll introduce Drew Jureka, and Drew is, oh my goodness, I had my first Christmas album out. It came out November 15th, called "Snow Came Falling," and he is all over that record,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful, and I was just so thrilled to have him. And this has been like a 4-year project of getting together the In Between. We call it the In Between project because it kind of grew and became a whole bunch of different albums as each song found its voice. And then while I was working on that, I got to know Jason, who was introduced to me with some of the Christmas. So Jason Fowler on guitar here, and accompanying me singing. He's been my co-writer for so many of the songs coming up on our Stones album later this year.
Your
So we have 2
Stones
albums in 1
album?
year coming out. So we have the In Between. We have In Between, which will be out in about a month.
Okay.
And then we have Stones, which will be coming out in the fall.
All right. Remember your friendly neighborhood radio station when the albums get released, because we'd love to put that stuff on the air.
I'll be sure to come by.
Okay. Are we getting some previews of that today? Are you going to be performing?
We are actually.
Oh,
So
excellent.
actually, everything that we're playing here is the first time that we're playing it live.
Oh, really?
Yes, because the album's not out yet. Neither
Okay.
album. So
Yeah.
we're going to do 2 songs from In Between.
Right.
The one is called In Between. It's the title track.
Uh-huh.
And you just heard The Place That I Call Home, complete
Right.
with flood lyrics. And then we're going to do 2 songs from the Stones album,
Okay.
which is the title track Stones and White Bird.
All right. That's, looking forward to that. We've got an
Yeah.
hour to do that in, so lots of time to pace ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You say the Stones album. Now, when you say Stones in a rock and roll oriented radio station, that is probably not the kind of Stones that you're talking about.
No, the way that the name came to me is it's the stones that you carry, it's the stones that you throw. It's the ones you wish you hadn't thrown and that you can't take back, and all the baggage of life and the things that, you know, we all try to be better people, but it's a
Right.
challenge. So
Right, and the Stones represent that.
Yeah.
Represents the burdens. Represents.
the burdens
Yeah.
and the ones that you let go,
Okay.
you know, peacefully.
Okay. Concept album then. The
Bit of a concept album. What would you
Yeah.
say, Jason?
Lyrically, for you, I think it represents that, yeah. I just had the thought, too, you might know this, too, the concept of stones. I don't know if it was Robert Johnson, but there's a famous blues song, and one of the lines that's been repurposed in a lot of other songs since is "Stones are in my pathway." Have you heard
Yeah,
that line
yeah, I
before?
have heard
don't
that
know if
line.
You'd ever thought of that in reference
No,
to
I
that, but it's
hadn't.
exactly what you're talking about. Stones are all in my pathway, you know?
Well, I mean, when I started writing with you, I brought something to the table. The first one that I brought, and it was Stones, wasn't it? That was the first one.
Was it the first song? I don't know.
I think it was because I had the line in there, how they shone, and for an
maybe.
instant how they shone,
Okay.
and that was a reference to my good friend and co-writer of 15 years, Sean Cunnington, who passed away from COVID early in 2020, and I didn't know if I'd ever write again. I had to kind of find how to write, and I didn't know if that was just magic that happened with him, or if I'd be able to recreate that with anybody else. You know, I didn't know if it was, you know, you have imposter syndrome and you wonder
Yeah.
if you actually have the goods, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just so freeing to be able to meet. I met up with Scott Metcalf, who is co-producer on the In Between album. He's not here today. And did some writing with him, and then I did some writing with Nathan Hiltz, and then with you, Jason. But the thing is that the writing style changed drastically, which has to be you. and
Yeah,
so it was
different people.
it really inspired me to write some different things. I'm like, wow, that didn't go exactly where I thought it was going to go. So let's let's see what you do with this, and let's see where this one goes, and so on. So we've got a different side of me that's come out in this.
So it's not just
and
you.
a lot of you.
It's not just you sitting out on your summer porch enjoying the sunset, writing by yourself and putting it all together, and finally handing out some sheet music to Drew and Jason.
I'm not that good. I usually write all of the lyrics and the melodies, and so I'll just sing it into the air. So when I wrote Place That I Call Home, I'm just on the. I was actually walking across the yard and I went, "Hey, yeah, coming home," and it just I was just so happy to be home, and then I was like, oh, that's good. What can I put with that? And then I had the melody together, and then I brought it to Sean, and sorry, I bumped your mic. And then I brought it to Sean, and he fleshed out all of the accompaniment for it. But what I've noticed working with Jason is he pushes me to, well, what if you tried this? And I used to do this thing where I was like, no, I have to write every word, every lyric, and I liken it to a box of crayons, and it's like, okay, I get the blue and the red and the purple and the sparkly one, and you can have brown and gray. And that's kind of how I was, without meaning to, that's how I was writing with people. And then I sat down with Jason, and I was like, what do you mean you want blue? and then he'd say, well, try this. And I'd be like, I can't do that with my voice. And he's like, just try it. And I'd be frustrated, but I'd try it, and then I'd be like, that was kind of cool. So
how do you know it works? How did you know that this was an effective way of making music?
Well, how do I know it works? The finished product, really.
Yeah.
When I'd be driving home and listening to the demo that we made, and I'd just have this stupid grin on my face and be like,
okay.
I really like this. This is something really different. So he pushes me to be better.
Good.
And I've been doing warm-ups with Melanie Conley, who is a very talented singer and is Jason's wife.
Ah.
And he said one day, you might be less frustrated if you warm up, or if you learn some tools to get there. Stop using the same bag of tricks, and because there are other ones,
vocal
right?
Training?
Vocal training,
Okay.
right? So we actually warmed up this morning. So thank you, Melanie.
Good advice then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to know Drew through Scott Metcalf, who is a very talented musician that I wrote many of the songs that are on In Between, and that are in some of my other projects, and they'll sort of come up. We kind of spread things out a little. I mean, you have the tendency when you first start to say, okay, I'm in a real studio, I want to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
And then you realize that you have an album that someone probably would need to be medicated to listen to, because it's a little too depressing. So you got to kind of spread them out and add some happy things.
Okay. So you want to have a mix of all the emotions on your album.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you write for the album, or do you just write stuff and then piece it together as it fits?
I usually just wrote it whenever inspiration came to me, and that is still very much how I write. I'll be washing dishes or in the bathtub or hosting a dinner or something, and suddenly I'm like, I gotta go, and I lock myself in the pantry and sing into my iPhone. But in terms of the Stones album, I found myself saying, well, I need to write something that's a little more defiant, or a little more, like we have a song in there, Spectre, and it's about surviving yourself, right?
Okay.
And you come up with ideas for things that I'd like to write something like that, and then you just wait for the gods to give it to you, for it to come, and it will, but you can't force it.
Right.
I'm never going to be one of those girls in a writing pool. I know you've done that, but I have trouble with that.
I don't particularly enjoy doing that,
No?
Yeah.
I like the inspiration that comes to you when you're just...
Well, I shouldn't say I don't enjoy it. It's a different muscle, right? But the thing that we do, where you come with lyrics and a melody, that's its own sort of tool chest activity, because your inspiration at that point, you've already said what you're going to say.
Yes.
You've sort of trapped a melody,
Then we need
And
to find your inspiration.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's sort of pulling out the tools, because you actually do often come with references and say, I'm kind of feeling it this way. But even that, hey, I'm coming home, when you sing that in the air, it's pretty obvious if you have a certain breadth of musical knowledge that that's probably not a minor key dirge. It's a celebratory thing, and it's going to be up tempo, and it's probably, it's going to have a certain kind of quality to it and a certain kind of musical accompaniment that is most likely going to carry that emotional weight. So that's what is fun for me, is that the lyrical inspiration and even the melodic inspiration is not my job. My job is to find an accompaniment, harmonically speaking, that works with that. And the challenge sometimes is that because Carla's doing it without an instrument in hand, we sometimes will argue about things like the syllable count or the rhyme scheme, because that's where I'm coming in and saying, typically a verse, if you've set up the first verse, the second and third should hew somewhat closely to that. But when you're not doing it with an instrument, sometimes you're not as attuned to that nuance. So we have to work on some of that stuff, and that's where the chiseling away becomes part of it, and the real hard work,
Yeah.
And the inspirational part, I think, for you sometimes comes very quickly, but then the hard work is refining, and
It's not fun.
It's not fun. No, it's not always fun. The inspiration's fun.
I mean,
I wrote this new song.
Do you know what it is?
But we got a lot of work to do.
It is fun. It's fun when we get there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that was worth it.
Yeah, hard work is hard
like,
work.
I'm sweating. This is
But I think in every case, when we get to that end point, I think we both agree it's a better song.
I think so
if
too.
we've done that.
And there are so many places where you've said, hey, we need to progress to different chords here because it's too long, it's too plodding, or it's too, maybe we need to cut this verse, maybe we need to edit. And that's the biggest thing, is the editing.
Editing, yeah.
So how long does that take? That sounds like a really long process.
No, it's
We're
surprisingly
pretty fast.
very
'Cause
fast.
it's just the two of us and an engineer in the studio. So
Yeah.
Carla will come in with an idea, and we'll sit down and I'll start to, harmonize things, and we'll talk about how it's going to go. So I would say within 8 hours, we've gone through that process, corrected, edited, practiced, and then we actually demo the song at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean it's a finished product, or it won't still be subject to further and possibly drastic changes, but there's some germ of an idea at the end of a day, and that's not that unusual to spend 8 hours on a song and get a song out of it.
Okay.
I think some people maybe just don't always have the, especially when you're writing, you might not spend 8 hours in a row, but over the course of a week, it might be.
Okay, so it is over the
Yeah.
course of a week. It's not 1 8-hour session of
No, we
song
do it
practice.
I'm saying we do it in one day, whereas people at
Yeah.
home, it might take them a week, because
Okay,
they don't
yeah.
spend a whole day doing it,
Yeah, I like to meet up with Melanie for a warm up, and then Jason for usually a 6-hour day.
6 hours maybe, yeah.
It's usually 6 hours,
Yeah.
and
lunch in there.
and
Yeah.
lunch in
Get
there,
lunch
and a little
too.
bit of talking, because you gotta know the people you're writing with. I think
Yeah.
We've gotten much faster too. We've honed in on it.
we did one in an hour and a half that we were like, wow, that
Yeah.
was, of
It
course
can happen
later
very
we did
fast.
tweak a little.
Yeah.
So
Okay. We've got some construction happening in the building, so
Yeah.
we're in a somewhat noisy environment. I hope that doesn't distract you from performing music.
Not
Play,
at all.
play loud, overcome the ambient noise if you can.
I'll try to get closer to the mic. I
All
know
right.
that you were turning me up because I was a little too far away.
Yeah. Do you have something else for me?
Yeah, we do. We've got a
All
couple
right.
more. So which one are we doing now?
In Between.
This is In Between. So this is the title track for the In Between album that will be out sometime in the next month.
In the next month.
Yeah, if I can get all my
All
own artwork done quickly enough. I smell brandy and tobacco, and I swear it smells like home. The sweet vibrant home summer nights I will always know. And Mama's in the kitchen as the sun is setting low. We're all we've ever known. And there are places in between what is far and what is home. And though time is fast, I'm guessing it's best we didn't know. And Though so close you can't tell where you end and they begin. All your stories they are known, all your places they have seen. And family's just a name for those you can't quite call your friends. But I know that you'll forgive me in the end. And there are places in between what is family, what is not. And I've seen you on the footpaths of my dreams, but I'd forgotten. And even if I can't remember all the words and what they mean, I still love you and the way you sang to me. I still love you and the way you sang to me. I held you close this morning in my arms and felt so sad. And I cried for all the nevers and for all I've ever had. And I know that I will see you once again, my little ones, and we'll while away the hours in the sun. And I have seen you on the footpaths of my dreams, lost in time. Your face just like the others, so familiar and mine. And I have wanted so much more, but life's not that way. So I'll write your songs and wait another day. And there are places in between what is lost and what is home. And though time is fast, I'm guessing it's best we didn't know. And even if I can't remember all the words and what they mean, I still love you and the way you sang to me. Oh, I still love you and the way you sang to me.
Carla Muller, Drew and Jason, live in the studio on CKMS-FM Radio Waterloo. That's lovely.
Thank you. I wrote that for my mother-in-law.
And it's never been performed live before.
It's never been performed live. I sang it to her many times.
Okay.
We cared for her when she had cancer at the end, and she was with us for a few weeks, and I would entertain her, and I wrote this song for her.
Oh, that's such a lovely gift.
It was, I wish I had had it ready, you know, I wish I had had it ready to have her hear it with you guys. I mean, that was beautiful, Drew.
Yeah. It
Drew
was.
has a way of finding an in to every song, and he just sort of waits for his entrance and weaves it in with whatever else is happening and just makes magic. I always say that when we're listening to the violin comps, it's like watching fireworks. It's like, oh, that one. Oh, that one.
When you're writing, do you write the accompanying sub-harmonies, the counterpoint as well?
Every now and then. So I have a few songs where it's come to me, and I've been like in the shower and I'm listening to, I'll be in the shower or something and I'm listening to my song or I'm singing it and I'll be like, oh, that needs to be in there, and that needs to be like cello, or that needs to be violin. But there haven't been too many that I've done. I think there's only been one that I've done with you where I was like, this is the melody I need you to play.
Okay.
You know?
So there's a lot of freedom for your accompanists.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, the thing is, you ask, you know, one guitar player or one violinist into your song. You want them to be able to express themselves, and that's the thing that's so magical, is that you get a little piece of them in your song.
Yeah. So, do you perform live at all?
I have performed at the South Coast Jazz Festival several times,
Okay.
and it's actually my best friend Julianne Kachaki who runs the festival. So take that with a grain of salt.
That helps.
She's very kind to let me onto her stage, and I do my best. But you know, it's so much fun to be a part of something like that.
So my question was leading up to, if you're so dependent on what your co-performers are doing with you, if you're in a different venue with possibly different performers.
It's different every time.
Different every time.
Yeah, so I had Eric Boucher on piano, so we did this song called Summer Sky, and I had written it with Scott Metcalf, and he did this lush kind of like 1940s movie swelling kind of piano part, and I said, that's the intro on this, and Eric says to me, do you mind if I come up with something? And I'm like, no, you do you. So he did a completely different one that was just sort of like, just kind of winged it, and I was like, I'm watching him. I almost forgot my entrance because I'm like in awe of him watching him play this.
You became the audience.
Yeah, and then in other songs, you know, the one time Julie said, "Oh, we have a saxophonist just part of the band," and I was like, "Great, come on, Kenny!" And he just jumped in and played something.
Yeah.
You kind of wing it. So I guess I'm good with improv in that way, which doesn't. Okay. And if I had to, I would just sing a cappella. So.
So,
which
Drew,
is how I wrote them.
when you do that, when you fill in for Carla, does it come out the same way every time Carla performs, or do you have variation from performance to performance?
We haven't performed
I
together.
We've never performed together, but
when
we're recording together, unless I get very specific instructions, I mean, sometimes you'll say something like, play the melody on the instrumental or play this particular thing, but no, I'm used to improvising with people, and so oftentimes I'll try and figure out what the song needs and try and provide it. And so that maybe takes a different form every time I hear the song. Often in the studio, if you're doing 4, 5, 6 takes of a song, maybe by the later takes I've kind of zeroed in on what I think is most appropriate, and so things start to get more similar in those later repetitions.
Right, because you found the thing that works.
Right.
And sometimes we'll say, you know what, just for safety, can you do like a high pass, or can we do one where you're in the upper register? Or I really like when you play both strings at the same time. That kind of, can you like give us a little of that in here, and then we'll comp that together and get what we need. But yeah, I've heard you live several times, also with Julianne, and it's brilliant.
This style of music lends itself to improvisation, so it's possible to be free and take the inspiration as it comes.
Yeah. And yet, all of you have sheet music in front of you with all the notes written down.
I don't.
With the structure written down.
Very little is written down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, these are what you might
Chord
just call
charts.
lead sheets. It's just a chord chart. Yeah, there's no melodies or anything, with rare exceptions. Drew scratched out a melody this morning, but this music is, I'd say, largely improvised. My favorite line as a mode of instruction to Drew in most cases is, "You'll know what to do." Because,
The
if you
music
have a
leads
certain
you.
breadth of knowledge, you hear it, you go, I know this type of song because I know 10,000 songs, and this is that kind, and I'll play this sort of thing. Not to make it sound like you're plugging in a formula, but music is somewhat formulaic, and if it's a country song, you should probably play country-style riffs.
Okay.
If it's a jazz piece, you probably play in a jazz idiom. So these pieces suggest kind of what the accompaniment is most likely going to be.
So, without dating yourself, how long did it take you to reach that level of expertise?
That's a couple decades of playing all the time.
How long have you been playing?
And playing with lots of people and listening to lots of music.
Right,
It's different for everybody, I guess.
10,000 hours of practice.
Yeah, whatever that means, yeah. 10,000 steps.
Learning your instrument is one thing, but then learning how to play in different musical contexts is a whole other adventure.
Yeah, because there's lots of people that play really well, but it doesn't mean they can play with anybody else or play Happy Birthday,
Right.
Every sort of thing is its own body of knowledge, So playing with other people in this context where you just say it's in the key of G and it kind of goes like this, that requires a certain type of musician to be able to do that effectively and convincingly and not sound like, oh, they've never played this song before.
Having been out at various folk clubs and open mics, there's always the house band who probably has never met the performers that are coming on stage before, and yet it all sounds so together. You know, this is these people can just pick up on whatever's being sung, and you know, a few notes at the beginning, and they're good for the whole song.
Yeah.
These would be very talented improvisational players.
Yes.
You know, that's what they do.
I'm sitting here quite impressed, to be honest. So
I'm always impressed. Sometimes I'll forget to sing, like when I'm like watching one of them, and Jason will go, like with his head, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's me.
yeah,
One of the questions is sort of a joke, I guess, among musicians, but it would be if you're making a record or you're doing a live show, you talk about who you should hire, and you say, well, how good do you want it to be? A team or B team? You know? There's a difference, and I think people know what that difference is.
Right.
Qualitatively and also just in a sort of professional demeanor and that sort of thing. So Carla, I think, has been fortunate because of her kindness and the way that she treats musicians. I think that she has managed to procure, in almost every case, the A team to work with her, because she's lovely to work with.
yeah.
You know?
Well, thank you. And you guys are all lovely too. Like I think I've only encountered 2 egos in this entire journey of, oh gosh, what are we up to, about 50 musicians now, on over 6 albums worth of material, and they've all been lovely, and just no egos in the room. It's been great. You know, and certainly no ego from me, because I'm like the least educated person in the room. I don't read. I can read music. I can go, okay, empty garbage before dad flips. You know, which like anybody who's taken music lessons knows, right? And it's the equivalent of counting on your fingers for math, which I also do. But you know, it's my parents tried to get me to play guitar and piano, and I learned, and a little bit by ear and more than by reading. And so I can pick out just about a melody on almost any instrument after given a chance. But why, when I could hire someone who, I'm going like this, and like, you know, and henpecking it. Why would I do that when I could have someone who's really brilliant at that?
Right. It's, I've heard that said. You know, do what you can and buy what you can't.
Right.
So,
that's a good one.
yeah.
That's a good one. And above all, we've been having fun.
That's the important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I've dreamt of this my whole life,
Yeah, and
of really making music.
you've achieved it.
And it's not just that. It's my in these albums, every word is true. It's my family's history. It's my history. It's every damn word is true, and it's nice to be able to do that.
So as we listen to the albums, as we peruse the lyric sheets, we learn all about Carla Muller's life.
Yes,
That's putting yourself out there. That takes some courage.
it is. But I mean, don't we all want to be heard?
Yeah, but exposing yourself like that, that's
I'll tell you, it's easier to expose yourself to strangers than to those who know you. So I have like friends, you know, friends from our church, friends from my family, and like friends of the family, and they're like, really? That's how you felt about that? And so like you have to answer for it with the people who know you, but the people who don't know you accept it and take it in and make it their own, and
right. They haven't got
Get what they need
They haven't
from
got the
it.
preconceived notion of what you are like. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can you expose some more of yourself? Do you have some more music?
yes, we've got 2 more songs if we've got the time. And this one's called Stones, the title track on the Stones album.
All right.
Due this fall. And Jason's going to sing with me on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Now remember, I'm going to...
Yeah. 3, 4.
I couldn't find all the stones. I went back to pick them up, they were gone. The stars came out, and I looked up to the sky, and for an instant, how they shone. I was given all the seeds of self-assurance, same as you, and I let them turn to stones around my feet. And your seeds of doubt you planted for flowers as I threw my stones in anger and defeat. And all left me wondering how much less I know. It brought me to this rather orthodox method of searching for the answers there below. Right seemed so important, and from the day I first did speak, I said these words: it's not fair, and it's not right, and it's not yours, but I'm just tripping on the stones that I've heard. And all of wit and work and circumstance left me knowing less than when I always did ask why. It brought me to this rather orthodox method of searching for the answers in the sky. Left here long ago. They were jagged when I threw them. Now there's sand beneath my feet, and I can't ever take them back, I know. And all of wit and work and circumstance have left me wondering why, and how much less I know. Brought me to this rather orthodox method of searching for the answers in the sky, tripping on the stones below.
Carla Muller singing Stones from an unreleased album live on CKMS Community Connections. That's wonderful. I'm looking forward to the album.
Me too. That song's a trip. We get so tangled up in everything that weighs us down, and it's just kind of nice to go, all of wit and work and circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, because you're never going to know everything.
No.
And I love watching you play that. Like, you look like an angel when you play. Sometimes when you're really into it, I love watching you find it, and that was lovely. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
And thank you, Jason. That's really good. I'm kind of a stinker for making each chorus slightly different, or for changing up, because I've always got so much more to say. So then I'll make I'll throw in a whole different set of lyrics, and that can be a little tricky for a chorus.
I can imagine. When you write a song like this, does that occupy your mind completely, or can you work on something else at the same time that you're writing a song like this?
Oh my gosh, I think I have about 600 songs, all in pieces. And the thing that I've learned is to listen to the voices in your head and don't push it.
Okay.
Like I came up with that, all of wit and work and circumstance. And I was like, oh, I like the lilt of that. And then I'm like, I got nothing else. And then I was like, I'm just going to sleep on it. And I woke up at something like 4 a.m, and I'm like grabbing my iPhone, and my husband's sleeping behind me, and he's like, and I'm like, left me wondering less than when and I'm like whisper singing it and hoping I'll be able to like realize it in the morning what I was trying to do. And sometimes a piece will come to me while I'm like chopping carrots in the kitchen, and I'll have to stop what I'm doing with orange hands and turn on my iPhone and add a piece.
Yes, you've got to grab it while the inspiration is there, because is it fleeting? Does it go away?
It's so fleeting, you'll forget it. Yeah. This is the best advice I can give, is as soon as an idea comes into your head, get it down on your phone. Right? Or recording device.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have trouble even remembering the tunes of well-established songs. I've got one song in my head perhaps, and it rattles about in there. and I can't think of anything else at the same time. So having the ability to switch back and forth, you know, to multitask, to task switch like that is pretty incredible.
It is very difficult to just summon. Like, you can't be like, okay, I'm going to write a song. Like, nope, that's not happening.
And yet there's people who do that, you know, people who are
Oh, yeah.
paid to just sit there and come up with stuff.
That's a gift I don't have, you know. I also write, so and my writing
Writing
is,
prose, you mean?
no, I write.
Stories,
I'm
poetry?
working on a novel at the moment,
Oh.
and I have to kind of wait until I go dark because it's a very different voice than my singing,
Okay.
and that was interesting to find out, like just the different parts of you. And it's funny because I've done all of my recording for these albums. All of this whole burst of activity has been at Canterbury Music Company, and you know, with Jeremy Darby and Julian DeCourt, who's the lead engineer. And there have been times where I'm in the booth and I'm literally doing vocals for one song, and I'm like, hang on, stop, I have to, and I'll grab my phone and I'll have to sing into it.
Because you have another tune
Because
that's
there's another
emerging.
tune that just came in, and Julian's like, okay, are you ready? He's very patient. Very patient.
Yeah. Tell me about the studio. Tell me about Canterbury Studio.
It feels like home.
Yeah?
It's a wonderful place, and everyone's so kind. And let me just tell you, Julian puts up with a lot. Because, you know, I've been frustrated without being, you know, with my voice being affected by long COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while I was on oxygen. So I was like, I had the cannula up, you know, in my nose, and I'd have to like lift it up, and I'd sing a couple lines, and then I'd put it back. And Julian's just like, he took it like no big deal. We can do this.
Just
We'll get through it.
Dealt with it.
And so, yeah, you basically just play beat the take, as he would put it, until you get something good. And you know, everyone I've encountered there who's been that way has been welcoming, and it's you know, world-class studio.
Does he provide input in the songs as well? Is he a producer as well as engineer?
Yes.
Yeah?
So for the Christmas album, he's my co-producer for Snow Came Falling, because he goes above and beyond what any engineer I've ever heard of does. Okay. And he's been generous enough to open his Rolodex to me, which is how I met Jason, I actually met you through Scott Metcalf, and for my first Christmas release in 2020. So yeah, it's been this amazing parade of people who are so talented. And
right. You said you have 2 more songs lined up?
I have one more song, actually, a fourth.
Okay.
And it's called White Bird. And I wrote this song about my Oma and Opa. And my Oma and Opa. I'm of German and Latvian descent.
Okay.
And
I'm Dutch, and I have Oma and Opa too.
You have Oma and Opa too. So I wrote this song. I imagined what would the meeting be like when they get to see each other again. What was that meeting like, you know? And they both passed, of course, years ago. But I'm getting up there. I'm 53, and sadly we lost them when I was 16 and 23. But I still think of them often, and they're my father's parents, and I think of them often. And I wrote this song about what their meeting would be like.
Song for Oma and Opa from Carla Muller,
called White Bird. all at once all my dreams came true. My darling, it was you. I found myself on the path I knew, the trees and brambles of my youth. The nettle sting could not reach me now. The songbirds sang their truth. I have walked a long and lonely road since the days you were mine to hold, and all at once all the world was new. My darling, it was you. White bird came on that summer's night, my darling, to lead me home. And heaven shone on your gown of white. No more have I to roam. I have walked a long and lonely road since mine to hold, and all at once all my dreams came true. My darling, it was you. I have walked a long and lonely road since the days you were mine to hold, and all at once all my dreams came true. My darling, it was you. My darling, it was you.
Carla Muller, the song to her Oh My Nopa.
Yeah. You gave me goosebumps, Drew.
Yeah.
Something about the vibrancy of that is just thrilling, isn't it?
It is. It is. Just lovely, lovely music all the whole hour. It's just been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. What's next? You've got 2 albums about to be released. One
Yes.
soon, one a little bit later.
So I have In Between, which will be coming out in the next month. We've got Stones in the fall. I have another Christmas song to throw at you
Ooh.
for a single release, and then we'll be putting out the vinyl of Snow Came Falling.
Vinyl.
I wanted to do blue recycled vinyl, and that's
Okay.
been hard to find. So we didn't have the time to get that out last year, but I want to put that out this year. And then in 2026, we have Paper Stars. We decided to kind of get that out in that year.
Okay.
There's a song honoring the survivors of 9/11 and the ones that
Okay.
were lost, and just the way that it affected everybody. And it's the 25th anniversary
It
of
is.
that, which is
Yeah,
so
it
sad.
will
And
be.
I can't even believe it's been that many years.
I know.
And then in the fall of 2026, we have Bees Are Humming, which is another slightly smaller album.
Okay, so you've got like 2 years
I like.
on tap here. This is incredible.
Not to
actually-
mention the lullabies you're
We're
writing.
also I'm also I have a bunch of lullabies. One of the things that I started writing with was lullabies. The way I started writing was lullabies for my friends, for my children, for my nieces and nephews, and someone would have a baby, I'd write a lullaby, and if I was inspired to,
Yeah.
So, and I'm about to become a grandmother.
Oh my.
So my daughter Emily is due in a few weeks, and I'm still waiting for the inspiration to hit, and if it doesn't, I'm in big trouble. But I want to put a lullaby album out with
All right.
Jason, and we're going to make it beautiful.
That sounds nice. I'm just looking forward to all this stuff coming out. This is great.
Like I said, it's just always been this dream of mine to be able to get
How
all
do
my
you
thoughts
have
out and be
time
heard.
left to do anything else? I mean, how do you have time left to perform?
Well, I don't perform a lot, just because I'm still getting my strength back.
Okay.
But it's coming back, and I also own Baby Charlotte in Kitchener, and which is a baby and children's
Mm-hmm.
store. So that's where the rest of my time goes.
Children's wear, clothing, shoes, toys?
Baby stuff, all the little stuff. We don't do like the cribs and the furniture and
Okay.
stuff. We do all the stuff that goes into those, and
Okay.
the little doo-doos and soothers and whatnot.
All right.
And I just got the most wonderful staff that manages most of that for me, and another one of my best friends, Samantha, who is there, and
Okay.
I have to mention my third bestie,
Okay.
Tia, who's listening at home sick with the flu,
Oh,
and so it's just one of those things.
so you're not planning on doing a lot of performing in the upcoming year or two?
I don't, I haven't really gotten into the festival circuit or anything, it's only been through the kindness of my friend Julianne, who's the one who, and she strong-armed me into, she's like, you have to do it, you have to come and sing live. So thanks, Julie.
I'm not sure where we first heard of you, but it's definitely the Christmas album that came out.
It was my friend Samantha who sent an email to you,
Okay.
and probably Eric Alper would have probably sent
Oh yeah,
something out
Eric,
too,
Eric
right?
sends us all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
very, very likely if he didn't get it from one source, we would have gotten it from Eric.
But Samantha sent a very heartfelt letter saying, you need to hear my friend
Okay.
sing. She writes songs, you got to hear it and have her on. And you
Been
were
up in
kind
our
enough to do
It's
it.
been up in our rotation for a couple of years now, so looking forward to enhancing that,
Yeah.
fleshing it out, putting more albums in. You've mentioned the two coming out that are, I guess, in the can and just ready for release, and then two more in the planning stages,
Yes,
and a lullaby album on top of that.
yes.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing if not prolific.
Yes.
And I actually have enough material for two more full albums, but we've got it. I'm not quite ready on what belongs on them yet. Like I kind of have to feel it out. So,
All right.
I'll bring a song and I'll be like, well, these are going together and these kind of go together. So.
Okay. Are you accepting requests for appearances? I mean, you came here into the studio for me, and that's
Oh, I
wonderful.
would love it. I would love
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I guess I don't have an agent, so it's never occurred to me.
So you have to do all this work yourself, all the production, all the
Yes. Yes.
the management.
Oh, it's a
the-
whole education in how to release an album.
Yeah. So if somebody did want to get a hold of you to maybe request a commissioned work or a personal appearance, how would they do that?
They can contact me through.
Get more Carla Muller music out.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome.
It's been a real trip.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
What happens next? What is the immediate future? What happens for the rest of today?
For the rest of today?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll probably swing by my store and see how everybody's doing. Then I'll check in on my parents and say hello and see how they are. And yeah, I hope they're listening right now.
Right.
And write a song before dinner.
Very likely. I believe that will happen.
It could, yeah.
How about you, Drew? How do we get a hold of Drew to play fiddle and mandolin for
Oh, that's a good question. I've never had a functioning website, so I guess word of mouth has done the trick so far. But if you're interested in seeing projects that I'm working on, I play bandonian in a tango band called Payadora, which you can find at payadora.com, Payadora.
Okay.
And I have a string quartet. I write music for string quartet. So it's really quite a variety of things. You can find me in a lot of different places. Okay. But if you look at drewjareka.com, you'll find this page is under construction, which is what's been there for a couple decades.
Won't link to that, but
no, don't.
Yeah. How about you, Jason? How do people get a hold of Jason Fowler?
JasonFowler.ca is my website.
Okay.
Because Canadian, right? So,
Yeah,
.ca. Yeah.
Absolutely.
.com was taken by a Christian artist from the States.
Also named Jason Fowler.
Correct.
That's got to be difficult, having a reasonably common name.
Yeah, we sometimes, I don't know how the heck this happened, but I had a flight not long ago, and somehow, I'd already checked in, it was through Porter, but this other Jason Fowler sent me my boarding pass and said this came to me. Like, how did you get it? I entered my email address because just thought you might want this. Bizarre. So we do have sporadic contact because our online presence seems to be somewhat linked.
And due to a snafu, he's actually credited on Snow Came Falling, the single. And I'm still working to get that rectified, that he's not the guitar player on that. It's our Jason Fowler.
Oh, that makes a big difference for the royalties, doesn't it?
It could,
They all go to the wrong place. Ooh. Well,
Well,
hopefully.
we have SoCam for that, thankfully.
Yeah. Can you play me out? Can you do a little bit of instrumental stuff just in the background so I can get some credits and talk over your wonderful music?
What are we gonna play?
You've been listening to CKMS Community Connections on CKMS-FM Radio Waterloo, 102.7 FM. In the studio today, we've had Carla Muller doing a live on-air performance. It's been wonderful to have you in here, Carla.
Thank you so much.
Accompanied by Drew and Jason, who are doing a wonderful job of putting me out. CKMS Community Connections is a production of Radio Waterloo. It's sponsored by Radio Waterloo. The executive producer is Jennifer Strong. Associate producer is Jeff Stager. Occasional host is Ritika Sharmali. We hope to have some other hosts on air in a little bit of time. The opening theme music that you heard was written by Steve Todd. CKMS Community Connections is heard every Monday at 11 o'clock in the morning and alternate Fridays at 3 p.m. I'll talk to you again then as we listen to Jason play a medieval tune, I think.
Is this one of yours? Lovely.
See you all the next time. Carry on, Jason.